Personality. Greetings and welcome to Snarky Wizard. I am Cyan, and today we're gonna talk about Watchmen, breakdown of episodes 6 and 7. Yes! My theories about Carr being Dr. Manhattan, Biden being through Mother, not her clone, and the survivor of Looking Glass were correct. Good for me. So let's hit the road and marcha. Plots. Episode 6. This episode revealed that Will was actually Hooded Justice, the original real-world vigilante, whose presence inspired the Minuteman, and as a result of Angela's nostalgia overdose, we are shown prolonged flashbacks from Will's life and how he became Hooded Justice. Assume the girl that survived with him and later marry him. Say, you ain't going to get justice with a bash, Will Reeves. You will get it with that hood. But to do this, June smartly assumes that the world will need to think there's a white man under the hood. So Will paints around his eyes in white, meaning he essentially wears two masks, each with its own price. We also discover that there is a new incarnation of the Ku Klux Klan called Cyclops, a group with further influences in powerful places and that use mesmerizing methods to cause violence. Episode 7. Angela starts to recover from the overdose due to laid-through intervention, and the episode reveals Angela's past and the inspiration behind her decision to become a police officer and later the vigilante called Sister Night. We learn that her parents were murdered by Vietnamese that resent the presence of the USA forces and their loss of autonomy as a nation. Also, how a bad mood of fate made her stay in Vietnam. That girl never have a break. We also learn that Ozzy has been under a trial or judgment for a year from the clones thanks to his previous attempts to escape and the consequence of Agent Blake's overconfidence. I really enjoyed the trap and how the door didn't open on time. That was hilarious. Easter eggs, theories, and character analysis. Lady Through. I initially were convinced that Lady Through was the comedian's daughter, or at least the daughter of a woman that suffered firsthand the atrocities committed by the comedian, Dr. Manhattan, and in general, the Americans. But now everything points toward the second one. She's the daughter of a Vietnamese female victim of the atrocities of war, and another Watchman, not the comedian. We are talking about Ozymandias. And how do I know that? Well, point number 1. Dr. Manhattan joined forces with the comedian in 1971, and in that year, they win the war. Ozzy was 32 years old and had made his own fortune, and also was a famous vigilante. Other curious thing is the age of the events. We know that Ozzy traveled around the world, and he always emulated Alexander the Great. And in history, at the age of 32, Alexander died, but her legend continued with the born of the Ptolemy dynasty. So we have a dynasty born at age 32 thanks to the two characters. Coincidence? I don't think so. Point number 2. Lady Through admitted that she wants the presence of her parents for her grandmama. She has her mother with her, but his father is not there yet. And we know that Ozzy is not on Earth. He's trapped in Europa. He has to travel to Earth, so that makes sense. Besides, we know that she has a statue of Ozzy, and she said to Agent Blade that she admires her elders. Point number 3. Then we have the message of Ozzy. What if instead of D for Dr. Manhattan, the D was for daughter? Save me, daughter. No, save me, Dr. Manhattan. We know that Lady Through has satellites in space. After all, she owns the Dr. Manhattan Pray Heavens. So it's very probably that Ozzy sent her a message. Point number 4. We also noted that she is very intelligent, a self-made millionaire, and has expertise with clones, characteristics that are very present in Ozzy and also in her daughter. Point number 5. Lady Through bought Ozzy company, but what if she made a deal with his father or with other entity to put his father in space in order to make him get over his past and painful memories? Point number 6. Then we know that every time we visit Ozzy, a year has passed. So we really don't know if his timeline is different than the one of the other characters are living in. And if I am right with the timeline, well, we have an object falling from the sky in the new property of Lady T. What if that object was in fact Ozzy or a form of Ozzy? Maybe she wrote his father's message and helped him to return to Earth, but in her own terms. Point number 6. Other important fact is that she will use the mesmerized tech to create empathy. Other theory that I have is that she will use the mesmerized tech to create empathy again. A new kind of psychoblast. After all, her daughter. Studies are about empathy. Another theory that just has occurred to me. What if Lady T wants to use the footage of the cabins and all the pain to blast not the war, but Dr. Manhattan with it? I mean, this god in the novel was apathetic to humans and emotion. Remember that he hid from himself in order to find happiness with Angela. So maybe she wants him to suffer for what he did in Vietnam and he's dismissed for humanity. After all, if Lady T was so interested in saving him, she would have had him inside his installation when he went to check Angela. Instead, he sent him home, where some 7K are waiting for him. So she really don't want to protect him. Besides, her biggest regret is that the memory pills made people focus on their past instead of learning from it. But she never mentioned her thoughts about using that past in a god. And how do you teach a god about the human suffering, making him live them through? Dr. Manhattan. Carl and Angela agreed to maintain his true identity on the cover, even from him, with a form of tachyon ring. Dr. Manhattan knew what will happen and that Angela will try to protect him. Is it clear that the Doctor has a tendency for hot, young, damaged, and fearless girls? What I find a little bit ridiculous is that Dr. Manhattan, Achilles' heel is love. I mean, what the others, really? He didn't do anything for his wife, not for Blake. But hey, he was okay with being happy with Angela, even if that means that he knew what will happen since the beginning and that he will be trapped by the 7K? Really? He puts humanity in danger? Why he didn't stay in Mars? This is not Dr. Manhattan of Alan Moore. Well, not that much. They can still return to Moore character if he realized that his death is the only way to save humanity. So he played the game. I think that we will find that Manhattan did in fact intervene in the White Knight. After all, he was observing the time in the wall clock, so he has a safe word for a specific occasion. I mean, he's a god. He can do that. Will or hooded justice? He asks aid from Lady T, but it is easy to guess that in exchange, he give her total access to the mesmerizing tech. We also learned that Will is a very shitty person. I mean, he discovered that Carl was Dr. Manhattan, but didn't look for her granddaughter. Que le den al viejo. What a piece of egoist being. Something that is still driving me crazy is the fact that his pills contain the actual memory about Jude's homicide. How he did it? They have to connect your brain to an equipment to download the memories, and he had them with him when he mesmerized Jude. So that is a very, very big continuity mistake. Someone explain me, even if this is a ridiculous way, what happened? That fact is driving me crazy. It's so illogical. Other mistake is the fact that Will couldn't walk, but suddenly, when she's with Lady T, the show us that he could. So what is it? He wasn't faking it because when Angela was reliving his memory, she never stopped up, so he can or he cannot walk. Ozymandias, he farted in his trial. Really? Solo se pedorrió as a defense? The most intelligent man in the world just farted as an argument? Okay, the only way that makes sense is if, I don't know, the Crookshank that was acting as the prosecution has a plan to help him escape. After all, he used the term master and even winked at him. So that was the reason from his nonchalant behavior? His tormented face at the end of the trial is a copy of the facial expression in the statue of Lady T. His supposed daughter has been observing him the whole time. Blake and Looking Glass. We know he survived and took a Russia mask, so surely he will be the one that will save Agent Blake from the 7K facility. I mean, they say the phrase that you can difference the good from the bad if everyone uses a mask. And that was a win for me, that Looking Glass is hiding inside this terrorist group. And well, Blake will certainly help Angela to protect Dr. M or Dr. Manhattan and stop the 7K. After all, Dr. Manhattan was her ex. Other theories and Easter eggs. The clock is just a clock that will mark the start of the mesmerizing plan of Lady T. She, after all, has given free televisions around Tulsa, and she also has satellites, so yes, she will send a specific blast. Mr. Phillips is John Osterman. The European clones are Dr. Manhattan, firm's attempt at creating life, and God created man in his own image. So that makes sense. Mr. Phillips is John Osterman, and Cronshanks is Janie Slater. Beverly Noel on Reddit posted an interesting theory that I don't think will happen, but it's really good. She said Lady True is a clone of Bian, not her actual daughter. True is an experiment by Bian and Adrian, or Ozzy, using technology made possible by Dr. Manhattan, and she exists to test an hypothesis that people will be capable of accomplish truly great things without the burden of past trauma affecting their every thought and action. So Lady True is genetically the same as Bian, but she's unburdened mentally by the traumatic memories of the Vietnam War, and because of this, she's able to reach deadly heights of intellectual achievement. After all, that trauma limited Bian's own personal achievement during her own or her first lifetime, and it is what separates Bian from True as individuals. I will leave the link below if you want to check that theory. Okay, 2 episodes to go. I don't know you, but I'm enjoying the series, except for the mistake with Will's pills. I cannot let it go. Okay, that was my pleasant snarky breakdown. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Join us and become Geek Paladins. Adios. Snarky.